This is the portrait head of Queen Tiye with a crown of 2 feathers. It is believed to be dated to 1355 BCE during the Amarna period, Dynasty 18 in New Kingdom, Egypt. Today, it is located in the Egyptian Museum and Papyrus Collection at the News Museum in Berlin. In ancient Egypt, gender played a significant role in the social, religious, and political spheres. Tasks and responsibilities were divided along gender lines, with elite men responsible for doing the administrative and bureaucratic work, while elite women, who were the head of the household, cared for children, and had important roles in temple rituals. In the royal courts of ancient Egypt, labor was also gendered, yet queens had the biggest responsibility of all: to be the head of the royal household, to become impregnated by the king, and to give birth to the royal children. Once her children were born, the queen was expected to be the mother of the future king and raise the royal children to adulthood when they would take over as king and queen of Egypt. Born of non-royal parents, Queen Tiye ascended to become one of the most influential women in ancient Egypt through the rule of her husband, King Amenhotep III. Together, they produced 6 children and later became the grandparents of the famous King Tut. Queen Tiye's role as queen was unique because her husband allowed her more influence than most queens were given. Throughout Egyptian history, most queens probably did not participate in administration and diplomatic duties, yet we have documents supporting the case that Queen Tiye participated in international diplomacy actions between Egypt and other countries. She was respected as a political advisor, foreign diplomat, and is noted to have been the first Egyptian queen to have her name recorded on official acts. She was commonly referred to as the great wife of the king in scribal work. After her husband died, her son Akhenaten inherited his father's throne at the age of 10. Queen Tiye's importance continued to elevate through her son's rule. The statue of Queen Tiye is a remarkable one. It is made of yew wood with eyes of ebony and alabaster, and displays a number of key artistic elements that provide insight into gender roles of royal women within ancient Egyptian culture. The artistic rules of ancient Egypt were to represent both men and women at the height of their life in a youthful and attractive appearance. But we can see in the statue of Queen Tiye that she has been depicted as an older queen with signs of age etched into her forehead and in the folds along the sides of her mouth. Some scholars believe that this was intended to show her as a high-status elder and queen mother in the royal house. If we look closely at the statue, we can see that there are 2 distinct headdresses. There is a brown outer cap made of linen, wax, and glue that covers a headdress made of silver, gold, and semi-precious stones. Computer scans of the statue reveal that the headdress underneath was made of Egyptian acacia wood and covered in silver with gold nails and bound tightly around the queen's forehead and temples. Because of the damage of the brown covering, we can see one revealed earring and the exposed silver above the gold headband, which has been darkened by corrosion. We can imagine what it may have looked like in antiquity, completely covered with silver, 4 golden cobras, 2 ear ornaments, and stones of blue, eye-catching lapis lazuli. The 2 gold clips on the front headdress are markers of a missing crown that would have signaled her status as queen and wife of the pharaoh. The brown outer cap is suspected to have been added to signal a demotion in status from the wife of the pharaoh to the mother of the next pharaoh. Another notable aspect of this crown is the gold double feather crown, sun disk, and cow horns. In royal artwork, queens were shown with divine insignia, such as the vulture headdress and the cobra uraeus, which was also worn by the king and mythical goddesses to mark their divine rule. This insignia on Queen Tiye's crown is symbolic of the goddesses Hathor, Nekhbet, and Wedjit, who represented protection, fertility, and sexuality. The sun disk, known as the Aten, is believed to be a reference to the monotheistic religion that her son Akhenaten founded, dedicated to Amun, the god of the sun and the air. As the king's great royal wife, the queen had an important role in the sacred rituals of honoring the gods in temples and religious ceremonies. Her role was to uphold the duality of kingship and mythological rituals, and to take on the role as the king's divine feminine counterpart. Today, we could see the force this queen possessed during the reign of her husband in a number of monuments left over from the ancient city of Thebes. We will consider one such monument, the colossal statue of Amenhotep III in Tiye. This statue was found in Medinet Habu, western Thebes, or modern-day Luxor, and is now located in the main hall of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. Standing at 7 meters tall, this limestone statue is the tallest dyad ever found. The statue depicts Amenhotep III and Queen Tiye seated side by side. On a significantly smaller scale are their 3 daughters standing around them. The queen is wearing a tight-fitted ankle-length dress and a long, heavy braided wig. Her headdress is composed of a vulture head and a double uraeus, believed to be linked to the double falcon feathers she wears in the bust. The most prominent feature of the statue is the comparable scale of the queen and her husband. The queen sits at approximately equal height to Amenhotep III, a sight rarely seen in ancient monuments, and a true marker of the queen's ability to traverse the traditional bounds of ancient Egyptian queenship. This indicator of her status can be compared to her depiction in the bust, in that the sculptor avoids portraying her as a flawless and infinitely youthful queen with a gentle gaze. Instead, the queen stares off at her spectators with a gaze of authority and undisputed power. This representation could be interpreted as placing the queen on a nearly equal status to that of the king, who can casually be portrayed with signatures of age, perhaps to emphasize that this queen possessed a wisdom and dominance far overshadowing her traditional importance as simply the bearer to Egypt's next pharaoh.